Guys, we have the week 8 recap for the Telegram 10. Sorry for missing last week. I had a really busy week. But we're back this week. And the first matchup we have to recap is me versus SN. I guess you could consider it a rivalry matchup. Um, I won 127 to 122. I believe if SN played almost any other team this week, he would have won. Other than Yates, actually, he would have beat everyone else. But that's fantasy football. I started Jared Goff because Lamar Jackson was on a bye. Um, who else? Cooper Kupp had an unbelievable game. Uh, DeAndre Hopkins is slowly starting to turn back into his form, especially with Will Fuller out. Hopefully, that means some better days are ahead for him. DJ Chark, I guess the only lineup decision I was making this week was Chark versus Montgomery, and I went with Chark because the Jets are just awful. But I guess the real decision is, going forward, I never know whether to start Michelle or Montgomery. I usually pick the wrong one every week. They'll have one person will have 20 points on the bench. Like last week, Michelle had 20 points on the bench, while Montgomery had I think almost close to negative points. And again this week, I mean, I could Montgomery had 15 more points than Michelle. I'm going to continue to struggle with that throughout the year. It's just that those two matchups are just so random. You never know. Hopefully Montgomery's going to start getting more carries, because I mean, the Bears looked better even though they lost when they were giving Montgomery the ball. Matthew Stafford was one of the best pickups. If he was a pickup this week, he's playing the Giants defense, and anyone playing the Giants defense, especially passing defense, you're going to have a big game. Saquon Barkley remains one of the best players in the NFL. I mean, that team literally has no other skill position guys. He still just puts up points every week. Um, Mike Evans, he has these games, and every time he has these games, I feel like I'm playing against them in the league. 37. Um, Cortland Sutton, he looks good. He just has Joe Flacco as his quarterback. He's benched Keenan Allen. Interesting, and I'm trying to think if there's anything he could have really done. I mean, if he started Adrian Peterson over Ty Johnson, he would have won. But I started Ty Johnson a bunch of leagues. I don't blame him for that. Um, let's see. Mahomes is hurt. That hurt him. Yeah, just a bad luck week for SN. Um, his team is obviously. I mean, every team is in the thick of the race, as we'll see coming up. We have George, still our first place team, but he lost to, I think, going into this game. I think it was first versus 10th, and the last place team Yates beats George. Um, Thanks in part to Tevin Coleman's unbelievable game against Carolina. I don't know where the hell that came from. San Francisco backfield, it's hard to decipher because they have Breda and they also have, I mean, Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr. I mean, they have four running backs, and you just never know who's going to get the carries. Tevin Coleman got the carries today and lit it up. Let's see who else. Gardner Minshew, very good start by him against the Jets. Like I said, Jets suck. Uh, Austin Eckler, 9 points. You don't know, again, I don't know what you're going to get from him from game to game now. Chargers just fired the offensive coordinator. We'll see if that changes anything. He had David Johnson, both Johnson running backs on his bench. Two of his top three picks, I would assume, and still won. Good for him. Yates is back into the playoff picture. Odell continues to struggle. I think that's more Baker. Let's see. George still had a really good week. Still scored 121 points. Le'Veon Bell was a big stinker for him. Godwin could have had a better game against Tennessee, but a lot of that was Evans. Austin Hooper, very good tight end this year. I believe I drafted him. I think I drafted him and dropped him. Not great. He started two tight ends with Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. Dalvin Cook continues to still be one of the best values, I guess, in fantasy. You didn't have to spend a first round pick on him, and other than Christian McCaffrey, I think he's probably I'm actually interested to see what his position rank is. Yeah, he's the second best running back in the league, fantasy points wise. So good for him. Um, yeah, I mean George's team's still fine. I mean, still first place. I mean, played a team that had Tevin Coleman had scored 36 points. It's gonna happen. Mo is back in the thick of the race. Look at this. Aaron Rodgers has had a resurgence fantasy wise. Kenny Galladay continues to really play well. 14th ranked wide receiver. Um, he seems like he's kind of up and down, but this was an up week for him. He did this without Chase Edmonds, who was supposed to be one of the best fantasy plays of this week, um, but he got hurt, and he's going to be out for a little while. Uh, Golden Tate, I mean, he just got solid performances across the board, I would say. Ertz has been a disappointment. Um, oh, yeah, and Zeke was on a bye, too. He did this without Zeke, and Thielen was hurt. So this is a very good win for him, considering the circumstances. And he was playing the McCaffrey team in Fawad. Brissett disappointed, no doubt about it. Brissett played up to his potential. Fawad wins this game. Um, he almost pulled it off with Schuster at the end there. It looked like I guess Schuster only needed a couple more points in fourth quarter. I did not watch one part of that game at all. Okay, so I have no idea. But it looks like going into that game, she had Schuster and the Mohead. No, Schuster came within like 3 points. That sucks. Um, let's see. Anything else that stands out? I mean, McCaffrey is one as almost having a LaDainian Tomlinson type of year. He continues to really impress. Carlos Hyde, Mixon. I mean, yeah, he was right there. I mean, the Colts offense struggled this week, and that's what ended up killing him. But he drops to 3-5, one spot away from the playoffs, and Mo, a resurgence, 4-4. Um, let's see, Billy versus Hassan. Hassan wins this one by 3 points. The top two teams in our league went down this week. Let's see who stood out. I mean, it looks like another Hassan performance where it's just kind of solid across the board, except for Sterling Shepard, who I think didn't play. I think he didn't play. Um, yeah, he hasn't played. So it looks like Hassan's not paying the most attention, but still end up beating Billy. Um, let's see, Gurley. I'm actually interested what Gurley's doing this year. He's 20th ranked running back. Yeah, not great. Not great for where you would have to draft him. I forget where he drafted. I think he drafted him in the first round. Tom Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady's had a pretty good fantasy year. And let's take a look at Billy's team. I mean, he just got killed by Brandon Cooks. I mean, I started Brandon Cooks in the league. I don't understand. Well, I think he got hurt, right? Yeah, he got hurt. That killed him in the first quarter. That's right. Okay, I forgot. It's sad because Brandon Cooks is having the type of year where if you don't watch the game and he scores a zero, I think a lot of it has to do with I think it could be performance wise, not because he got hurt. That's the type of year that Brandon Cooks is having. Latavius Murray has been awesome for Billy, but that's going to soon end with Kamara coming back. But good thing that's why you have handcuffs. Um, Fournette, another good game for him. He's having a quietly great year. Sixth best running back. Very good value for where you got him, probably in the third round. Um, yeah, Kyler and Chubb, they were supposed to be better. Um, if Chubb doesn't fumble like 5 times in that game, I feel like Billy wins this. I mean, Chubb had 2 fumbles in a row, but he still had a really good game if you watched it. He just had 2 fumbles. And he wins because of that. He wins if he doesn't do that. I guess he could have started Alshon Jeffrey over J.D. McKissick, and he would have won. I probably would have done that, or I would have done Allen Robinson. I probably would not have started McKissick. I'm not trying to roast him or anything, but I don't know, mate. I mean, McKissick against the Giants defense, and you're thinking, they might do Ty Johnson's not that good, but I don't know. I probably would have started one of those wide receivers. Uh, Raheel versus Kaleem. Now Kaleem drops to 2-6. He had a huge performance out of Aaron Jones, a very good game out of James Conner. Um, I guess he needed Conner to get like 30 plus, I guess. And against that Miami defense, anything's possible. So I mean, um, he scored 113 points. They had a pretty good week. I mean, Waller didn't do as much as he has been. Kenny Stills. I mean, I was looking to pick him up this week, and he didn't do much. McLaurin. I think defenses are finally like, yeah, this is the only weapon they have. Let's defend him. Um, Devontae Adams is out, and Cooper. That was a big hit. So I mean, I don't know. There's really anything he could have done. I mean, he could have started Sanders in one of his flex spots. It would have won. I'm surprised he didn't start Sanders over Royce. But Sanders has been up and down. I'm not going to roast him on that. That's a tough call. I mean, I like Sanders. I've watched him every. Let me see what he's been doing. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to start him, especially in Buffalo. Yeah, I don't blame him. I probably would have still started Sanders, but that's just me. Um, Raheel. I mean, he did this without. Actually, he wasn't missing anybody. Julio, Michael Thomas, lethal combination, wide receivers. Josh Jacobs has had a good year, even though he didn't have that great of a day. And then Deshaun Watson is borderline MVP. It's him or Russell Wilson, in my opinion. He's the first ranked quarterback. Look at that. Um, he's been awesome. He's been awesome to watch, and he's been awesome fantasy wise. Um, can someone, can they please give him an offensive line? I know that they focused on it in the draft, but get this man an offensive line, right? Like I mean Watson, if he has time to do stuff, I mean he might like you could consider him and Mahomes top two in the league. I think I really believe in Watson. I really think he's that good. Um, Nobody else. I mean that stood out. I mean Kittle has been okay. Emmanuel Sanders is going to be a lot better on the 49ers. Raheel really benefited from that trade. Let's take a look at the standings. Now, parity. This is what this shows to me. This is unbelievable. I don't think I've really seen a league like this where I think this is almost as even as it could possibly be. Like 2-6-2 teams, only 1-5-3 team, and in four like there's six teams that are either 4-4 or 3-5. Every single team, including Kaleem, because Kaleem has a lot of points, um, has a chance to be in the playoffs. And it wouldn't shock me if one of these 4-4 teams gets hot and ends up getting a first round bye. It wouldn't even shock me if one of these 3-5 teams did. Everyone, I mean, I think George is still kind of penciled in to a first round bye, but still, I could definitely see this, everything kind of switching. It's this even. Points wise, let's take a look. Points wise, the first four teams are the top scoring teams, which is interesting. But if you look at Kaleem, he is sixth based on points. Now, I believe, now we're doing it by last year. Um, let's take a look. I mean, so based on wins was the first five teams, and then the sixth team was based on points. So Mo would be in, and then sixth. I mean, Hassan doesn't have that many points at all. I believe Fawad would be in on points. Um, Now Hassan has historically made fun of my team last year for getting in on points, and now he's benefiting from the wins. That's interesting. Um, so you got all this. I mean, it's hard to predict anything or just say like this is your top six right here. But these four teams on the bottom: Fawad, SN, Yates, who I thought might have been dead in the water, he's been revitalized, and Kaleem. They all have a shot. Um, I think I might have benefited most from this week because both top teams lost, and now I'm only a game out. But if I lose next week, because I have a couple buys, um, and a couple of these teams win, I might be, it's crazy. I'm looking for a first round bye, but I also can easily still miss playoffs. So, and I feel like everyone else could kind of say the same. I mean, maybe not George and maybe not Billy, but the rest of us, we have a shot for a first round bye. I feel like, but we also could all miss the playoffs. Um, let's take a look at the matchups for next week. I mean, you can go down the line. I guarantee you, every matchup is big. There's no like give me, gimmies or anything. I mean, me and Yates. I mean, I need this win. Everyone needs a win. Uh, Yates is still fighting for his life out there. I mean, if he loses to me this week, it might be a little bit tougher, but still. And I got a couple buys, so this is gonna be a lot. This is gonna be game's gonna be pretty close. You got George and Mo again. You got a first round, the first team playing against the fifth team. Another really good matchup. That's going to be good. Billy versus Fawad. Again, Fawad's fighting for a playoff spot. He's on the outside looking in. Billy's fighting for a top 2 seed to get a bye. Raheel and SN. Again, Raheel is fighting for stay in the playoff hunt. SN's trying to get back in. This is a huge game, like every game is. And then Kaleem, this might be it, I would say, since you can't get out on points. It'd be really tough to make it as a 6-7 team this year. And that's what you would get. That's his ceiling if he wins this week, if he loses this week with 7 losses. And Hassan again, he's got to, he's behind in points, so he's got to keep winning these games. He's not going to win any tiebreakers. I mean, unless he starts having big weeks again. So he's really got to get on. He's really got to start getting some of these wins. Every team has a chance. It's going to get crazy. I think after this week, it might start to clear up a little bit, but who knows? I thought that was going to happen 3 weeks ago. So we'll see. It might get more complicated or it might get a little bit more clear after this week, but this is going to be an awesome week of fantasy football. A lot of big matchups in this league. This is probably one of the most fun this league's been in a while. So there you go. Early Tuesday morning video, like the old days, back when I had off and Tuesdays and from college. So feels good. Next video is going to be coming from New York City. I'm moving my life up to New York City for a new job. So yeah, peace from Wall Township, New Jersey, and next week I'll see you from New York. All right, guys, have a great week.